how the U.S. sold drugs to fund an illegal war, and then they got away. Okay, we gotta see what's up with this, bro.
The 1980s. What a time to
fucking course it's the 80s. Okay.
be alive. Rocky IV, Van Halen, the looming threat of nuclear annihilation. The 80s had it all, baby. But one thing a lot of people don't talk about too much anymore is that the biggest scandal in America.
What's this? Iran-Contra report says President bears ultimate responsibility for wrongdoing. Wow. What was going on back then? Mortgage rates and housing construction. Damn, bro. Damn. Okay.
In history happened in the 80s.
Nope.
And it involved a man who some consider to be the greatest American president.
Who's that president? It is
Ronald Reagan. And no, I'm not talking about the time he created AIDS to eradicate all the gay people.
That's where I thought we were going with this. But I thought it was gonna be like involved with like crack. Because I think that came out around the 80s, right?
I'm talking about the Iran-Contra scandal.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get into it after a quick word from our sponsor. Guys, I have a confession to make.
Who would that be?
I'm kind of a schlemiel. I drop my phone at least 12 times a day. But
yeah,
luckily,
I do the same thing.
Luckily,
iPhones they hold up pretty well nowadays. Like, yeah, I got a prick detector screen on this. Not too shabby. We got a little protector for my phone, so I always got that nice crispy lens on the picture, so it's not broken. Because obviously the back camera is a lot better than the front camera. Hey, but the front camera's holding up pretty well too. But I'm getting to an age where I got a fiance, and I ain't using Snapchat no more. So yeah.
Casetify. So
what is this? Casetify.
Casetify makes these great looking phone cases that offer top-notch protection.
I love how his thing says paying bills as a time selection. Great ad.
Phone, you'll be helping the planet, and most importantly, you'll be helping the channel. Thank you to Casetify for sponsoring this video.
Thank you. Also, if you want to go support this guy's video, Casetify, you got the link right there. You can see that. Yeah, casetify.com/ Dantavius. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's probably gonna say it. Yeah, he probably say it right.
Our story starts back in 1951. Mohammad Mossadegh was just elected Prime Minister of Iran.
Okay.
He was extremely
Fun little note. My mama actually used to live in Iran briefly because her dad was really smart. My grandpa, he was real smart. Did some stuff for the government over there. Engineering wise, helping them with like waterways and all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, interesting little nugget of history right there for the channel. Yeah, mama lived in Iran briefly.
Popular and loved by most Iranians. But you know who didn't love him?
And also, she loved Iran. The whole family loved Iran. They were very nice and great people. I have nothing bad to say about them, right? You know, they treated my mama good. They treated my family good, so I can't hate on them, right? I'm not going to do that.
The British. See, most of Iran's oil at the time was owned by British Petroleum, aka BP. And Mossadegh decided that he was going to nationalize all the oil. And if you know anything about England, you know they hate two things. Food that doesn't taste like ass, and losing access to oil.
Yeah. Americans, they feel the same way. The food tasting like ass, we don't really have a problem with that. We got this thing called Taco Bell. Slaps, baby. They got a thing that's really underrated, which is called Wendy's. Oh my god. Wendy's, oof, little redheaded lady. Yes, bro. Slaps. Some freaking baked potatoes, baby. Oh my god. That's just fast food, right? You got Chick-fil-A. You got a bunch of fast food that's just amazing. They got this new thing. It's not really new, but Hawaiian Bros came in from, I'm guessing Hawaii, because they're bros. Hawaiian style, you know, pretty good. Dude, we got so many good fast food chains. It's crazy. You got Steak and Shake. You got all these. It's so good. I'm just saying, you know, America's got some good fucking food. You know what I'm saying? It's just fast food, dude.
So the UK convinced the United States that Iran was in need of some good old-fashioned freedom. And on August 19th, 1953, Mohammad Mossadegh was ousted by a CIA-backed coup and
yeah, that didn't end up well, did it, guys? So I'm pretty sure my family got out, you know, before then. Yeah, doesn't like Iran hate us ever since that? Like they don't want all of us to die now. I guess I don't fucking know. That's the vibe I get from it. But I'm not a political commentator by any means. I am a social commentator. I'll talk about what I see, what I hear. I don't judge. I look back and observe. As a wise man once said. So yeah, but yeah, the coup didn't end up well. I don't think.
Replaced with the Shah of Iran, who was more in line with Western interests. And things were going pretty good for him until 1979, but...
Yeah, I don't think he's going to talk about that. You know, YouTube, they don't really like showing all that kind of stuff.
We'll come back to that later.
Okay,
meanwhile, on the other side of the world, in Nicaragua, a group known as the Sandinistas were fighting to overthrow the U.S.-backed dictator Anastasio Somoza. And on July 17th, 1979, they succeeded...
Damn, that's a big-ass jump. Hold on one second.
A group known as the Sandinistas were 1979. They succeeded and took control of the government. Now, the Sandinistas were socialists backed by Cuba, and let's just say Ronald Reagan wasn't too happy about that.
Okay. The Sandinista rule is a communist reign of terror.
Ooh, commie, yeah, the commie word was thrown around, bro. Yeah, that's not a good one. Yeah, that's like nowadays when you call someone a white male, white man. White privilege, you know, you get one of those, it's like, oof, fuck, I don't know what to say, man. They called you a white guy. It's like, fuck, they called you a commie. I mean, fuck, dude, that's not good. Now they got a football team that's the commies, right? They got the Commanders. So, like, I don't know, it's kind of acceptable now.
Many of those who fought alongside the Sandinistas saw their revolution betrayed. They were denied power in the new government.
Ooh.
Some were imprisoned, others exiled.
Ooh.
Thousands who fought with the Sandinistas have taken up arms against them and are now called the Contras. They are freedom fighters.
That brings us to the Contra part of the Iran-Contra scandal. The Contras were a collection of right-wing paramilitary groups that opposed the Sandinista government. And Reagan had a huge...
Wow, that sounds very familiar, but we're not going to touch that.
Boner for these guys. At one point, he even said that they were, quote, the moral equivalent of the Founding Fathers. Now...
All right.
I should probably mention that the Contras were accused of pretty much every human rights abuse imaginable. Kidnapping, torture, rape.
Okay. Things don't change. History repeats itself. We get it.
Killing civilians.
Oh my fucking god.
These guys were doing it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not exactly fucking Ben Franklins over here. And don't get me wrong, the Sandinistas were no angels themselves. But the thing with the...
Fallout said it best. War never changes. Yeah.
Contras is that they didn't really have any oversight, so nobody held them accountable when they did messed up stuff. But hey, man, at least they weren't a bunch of filthy commies. So the U.S. sent them tens of millions of dollars of aid every year. But Congress thought that Reagan and the CIA were going a little too hard in Nicaragua, so they passed the Boland Amendment in 1983, which completely cut off all funds to the Contras and prohibited the CIA from carrying out any operations there. But Reagan wasn't going to let a stupid little thing like Congress stop him from helping out the Contras. But of course, he couldn't do it by himself, so Reagan started looking for somebody that could help out the Contras under Congress's nose. And it wouldn't be long...
Oh boy, here we go. We're getting to the title of the video, I think.
Long before he found the perfect guy.
Congress stopped the Contra money flow, just cause they moved a teeny bit of blow. But then a hero came forth, his name was Oliver North. He and Reagan went...
Oliver North? What is this, general?
Around the sissy...
Oh, is this the president? Oh, wait, I'm confused. Kind of catchy.
Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North was a decorated Marine with more medals than the fucking periodic table.
Damn.
You might recognize him from Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
There he is. There's the guy.
Lieutenant Colonel North, NSC.
He was the perfect guy for the job. He had
He does look familiar. Shit, that's where he's from? All right.
experience, he was a patriot, and most importantly, he knew how to keep his mouth shut. And our boy Ollie didn't waste any time getting to work. The first thing he did was set up these...
Oh man, the fucking Ozarks, dude. Oh, such a good show. That shit's so goated. I slept on that show for fucking years. I finished it last year, dude. Oh my god, so good. They don't make shows like that anymore. They really don't, dude.
Secret fundraisers where rich people could donate money to the cause.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest donors at these things was actually Saudi Arabia, who gave over $30 million. So they were doing these fundraisers for a while, and now they had
it's a pretty big chunk of change.
All this money. The only problem was they didn't know how they were going to buy weapons with the money without Congress knowing. That's where Richard Secord comes in.
Okay.
Secord was an Air Force general who had a side hustle.
A lot of white guys that look the same.
Also working in the black market arms trade.
Yep.
One of the guys who he worked with was a fella by the name of Edwin Wilson, who was pretty much the biggest arms dealer in the world at the time. And Secord acted as a kind of middleman between Wilson and Ollie North.
Okay.
Well, that is until Wilson fucked around and got himself thrown into prison after he got caught selling 40 tons of explosives to Libya. As
40 tons? Oh my God.
One does. When it was discovered that Secord had been working with Wilson, he was forced to retire from the Air Force.
Yeah.
But he didn't really give a shit. Now that he had a lot more free time on his hands, he decided to start his own arms smuggling company called The Enterprise. So Secord went from being the middleman to running the whole operation in just a few short years.
What the fuck is this? The fucking origins of Iron Man 1?
And you know that mother sucker was getting paid.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
The Shah of Iran took power in 1953 after a US-backed coup, as I said.
Yes.
And he actually did a lot of good stuff after taking over. He grew the economy, he helped modernize the country, but at the same time, he was also kind of a schmuck. He ruled with an iron fist, and while he did bring in a lot of wealth into Iran, most of it went into his pockets.
Okay, so my family might have been in there at that time. I don't know how the dates line up. I don't know. I just know when shit went south, they were out, right? They got out.
I mean, the man literally threw a $400 million party for himself and his rich friends.
Damn.
A lot of people saw the Shah as a puppet of the United States who sold out his country to foreigners.
Yeah.
And eventually the people had enough.
Okay.
And a revolution broke out that brought down his regime. In 1979, the Shah left Iran and Ayatollah Khomeini took his place as supreme leader.
Yep.
Unlike the Shah, this guy didn't really like America very much.
No, he did not. Not at all.
He referred to the U.S. as the Great Satan, and one of his favorite catchphrases was, "Death to America."
They still like that one. That one's still popular, I heard. I remember the video that was going around. Yeah, a couple, was it a years? It was a couple years ago, whatever it was. Because I remember Trump was in office at the time, actually, I think. Yeah, they still feel a type of way.
Now, you're probably thinking, man, it would be really dumb if we sold weapons to this guy. Yeah. Probably, but we still did it anyways. See, back in the 80s, Islamic
Actually, this kind of makes sense, because there was rumors about the cartel situation in Obama. I remember being in middle school and people were like, oh, dude, we had all these weapons and we just like dropped them off at the border. And then we left and then we came back. The guns weren't there, man. It's crazy. Dumbass middle school lunch table talk. Don't know why we were talking about politics. Obviously, someone's mother was unhinged to the amount where someone was repeating the shit that was going down at their house. But yeah, we were talking about that shit in middle school. So yeah, I'm not surprised about this, honestly.
Extremists had this weird hobby of kidnapping Americans and holding them hostage. Hezbollah, a Lebanese terrorist organization with ties to
I've heard of them.
Iran, was holding 7 hostages back in 1984. And Reagan really wanted to get them out, but he didn't really know how. And then one day, Ollie North gets a call from a dude named Manusher Ghorbanifar, who had connections to the
That's a mouthful.
Iranian government.
My friend, I can get some of the hostages out. If you just do me a little favor and sell some missiles to Iran.
This was exactly the opportunity that Reagan was looking for.
Oh,
but there
boy.
were 2 issues. 1, there was an arms embargo on Iran. And 2, Reagan had a very strict, we don't negotiate with terrorists policy.
Yeah, that's the line that it's been kind of repeated in like a lot of movies that I've seen as a kid, growing up. You don't see that as often anymore, but it's a very popular line to say. So
our government has a firm policy not to capitulate to terrorist demands.
Oh, capitulate.
But then Ronnie thought to himself, okay, maybe just this one time, maybe just this once we'll negotiate with terrorists. Just a little bit.
Just a little dabbling, just a little, you know.
We told Ollie North to set the deal up.
Okay.
But obviously, if anybody found out about this, they would be in deep shit. So they had to get creative. That's when Bob McFarlane, Reagan's national security advisor,
God, he looks like he loves life,
came up with a brilliant idea. They could just use Israel as a middleman. Israel would sell arms to Iran, and the U.S. would...
Oh my God. All right.
Sell weapons back to Israel to replace whatever they sold. And if they got caught, they could just blame it on the Jews, because that always works. It was a genius plan. But why would Israel ever get on board with something like this? Like, Iran had publicly called for Israel's destruction multiple times. Well, Iran was fighting a war with Iraq at the time, so the Israelis figured if they...
Yeah, I heard that Iran does not like Iraq. That was my grandma used to say that, tell me stories all the time about the times they lived in Iran, and that was a big sentiment, like... I don't know if this is true. It's just what my grandma said. Like, she was like, dude, they thought them as like just like dogs. Like they do not fuck with them at all. Yeah. So there's like a little supremacy thing going on between the two different cultures. Obviously that still remains to this day as it seems. But yeah, shit's crazy out there, man.
Their two biggest enemies were focusing on each other. They would be less focused on them. So yeah, it was a win-win.
Naturally.
Everybody was winning. Well, except for the civilians getting annihilated by all these wars, but hey, they were brown, so who gives a shit about them? So Ollie calls up Ghorbanifar and tells him to go. Now, I should mention this Ghorbanifar guy is a complete putz. Like, he's the stereotypical Persian arms dealer. Reagan called him a devious character, and Bob McFarlane said he was, quote, one of the most despicable people I have ever met. According to the Nationals...
Coming from the guy that looked like he fucking hated life, dude. Dude was so depressed. I was being sarcastic about him loving life. Dude looked miserable. That guy said, oh my goodness.
Security archive. Ghorbanifar was almost universally discredited for misrepresenting all sides' goals and interests. Even before the Iran deals got underway, the CIA had ruled Ghorbanifar off limits for purveying bad information to U.S. intelligence. Okay, so this guy was so bad that the fucking CIA refused to work with him. And Ollie North was like, nah, he's a good guy. So Ghorbanifar set up the deal, and to everybody's surprise, it actually worked out. And Hezbollah released some of the hostages. In fact, it was going so well that they decided to cut Israel out of the operation completely. And the new system worked like this.
They're just dealing straight to him?
The Department of Defense would sell missiles to the CIA. The CIA then sold those missiles to Richard Secord, who would sell them to Ghorbanifar, who sold them to Iran, at a massive markup, of course.
Oh my God.
Secord and Ghorbanifar was making so much money off this scheme that they didn't even know what to do with it all. So they decided, hey, let's talk.
Sounds like the Democratic Party right now, bro. They busting out advertisements right now. That shit's who gonna win? Comment down below. Who gonna win? Shit's wild out here, man. It's election day if you're watching this later on, dude. It is crazy right now.
Toss some of this cash to the Contras. And that's where the Iran and the Contra finally meet.
Okay.
Wow, it took us a while to get here, but here we are. Yep. Now, on top of getting money from weapons deals and donations from the Saudi government, the Contra's biggest source of fund was actually some good old-fashioned drug trafficking. So back in the day, there was this guy in Los Angeles named Rick Ross.
Oh,
no, not that
shit.
Rick.
We're getting to the Rick. Ooh, boy. I know a little bit about this now. Yeah, not Big Meat, whatever he called himself. The real Rick Ross. The one that wasn't, a parole officer.
I'm talking about the real Rick Ross.
There you go.
The biggest drug dealer in America.
Yep.
At his peak, Rick was pulling in over $3 million a day. He made billions of dollars on the coke trade. That's billions with a B. Rick's supplier was a guy by the name of Oscar Danilo Blandón.
Dude was running shit.
From?
Cuba?
Nicaragua.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It turns out that Blandón was trafficking drugs to raise money for the Contras, and the Reagan administration knew about it the whole time. So while thousands of people were being thrown into jail for drugs, our own allies were bringing tons of stuff into the country while the government turned a blind eye.
Doesn't this sound familiar, bro? Like, doesn't this shit just happen often? Like, come on, bro. What are we doing now? Like, weed's illegal, but it's legal in certain states. I mean, you can grow it in the forest. It's just a little ticket in California. So you got, I don't even want to go down that, whatever. But yeah, okay.
Where do you get your coke from? I was getting my coke from a guy by the name of Oscar Danilo Blandon. Blandon would bring me drugs to sell to raise money for the Contras. The Contras was backed by the CIA. They felt that if they lost Nicaragua, that Russia would be marching down the streets of the United States.
Despite the
so base, bro. Dude did not give a fuck.
destruction of the inner cities, the whole Iran-Contra operation was going strong. The Contras were getting their money, Iran was getting their missiles, and most importantly, everybody kept their mouths shut.
Everybody's winning.
October 5th, 1986, a cargo plane was shot down in Nicaragua.
Yep.
It was holding AK-47s, rocket launchers, grenades, and 200,000 rounds of ammunition. 4 people were on board, but only one survived. A guy by the name of Gene Hussenfuss, who for some reason was the only guy who thought to bring a parachute. Now, Gene was pretty low on the totem pole, so he didn't know much about the operation. But what he did know was enough to link the plane back to the Reagan administration.
And he knew to bring a parachute, which, I mean, smart guy.
And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it got worse. November 3rd, 1986. Just a month after Hussenfuss's plane got shut down.
Dude, his fucking last name is fucking legendary. Hussenfuss? Dude, just, shh, I ain't telling shit.
Ashira,
I ain't no
a
snitch.
Lebanese newspaper, reported that the U.S. government was trading arms for hostages after getting a tip from an Iranian official. What's funny is that it's been speculated that Ghorbanifar convinced the source to leak this story because dude was just an agent of chaos.
Honestly, let me know down in the comment section below. Would you trade someone's life for, a couple bombs? You're like, okay, American citizens, possible other people dying. American citizens, possible people I don't know, it gets a little tricky. I don't know, man.
Either way, the whole operation was exposed and everybody involved was fucked. The American people wanted blood. They wanted justice.
Yep.
So Reagan created the Tower Commission, a special review board that was going to investigate the scandal and get to the bottom of the whole thing. So just to reiterate, the president opened up an investigation into the president.
And I appointed a special review board, the Power Board, which took on the chore of pulling the truth together for me and getting to the bottom of things.
So this is like when you see one of your favorite streamers or what, like for instance, Mr. Beast just had to do this, right? He had to have a third party come in and investigate his company, make sure there's no wrongdoings being happening in his company behind his back or of his knowing, which I mean is legitimate in a way. But then you also get you're hiring them. This isn't by a court of law, so you can pretty much burn evidence. You can restrict evidence. You can ease it in a little more than you could if it was like a court of law with like discovery, right? I think who else did this? Asmongold's org, KOD, KOT, K I can't remember their org name. I think it's TOK. I don't fucking remember. But yeah, they had to do it as well with the whole they had like some situation with one of their members in abuse or something like that back in the day. I can't remember. But yeah, third party investigations you can hide some stuff that way. So obviously with the president it's a little similar, right? Yeah.
But obviously Reagan wasn't going to take the blame himself.
No.
So Ollie North volunteered to be the fall guy. And in some way he was always intended to be the fall guy.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go. Luckily, right after shit hit the fan, Ollie North decided to throw a little party. A shredding party. Ollie and
Well, how about that? Talk about shredding evidence. They're literally fucking doing it.
his secretary got together and destroyed every single piece of evidence related to Iran-Contra. Also, he was definitely hitting that.
Bro, shout out to the political secretaries, man. They're so productive. Like freaking this example, and then you got Clinton, dude. They're just killing out here, man. I would love to know about more stories about the secretaries because I think their stories they really go unnoticed. They're like the underdogs of the political machine. They really get things going. They really make things happen. You shout out to the secretaries, man. Like straight up, like no jokes, dude. Shout out to them. Like they're doing big things out here, man.
I shredded.
They don't get the credit they deserve, bro. Hawk Tua, bro. They killing it, man.
I was never told not to shred.
Bro, what are we doing? I'm over here trying to joke around and shit. This motherfucker being dead ass serious and God jokes. Let's run that back for a second.
Hidden that.
I shredded.
Wait, what did he just say? Hidden that?
Related to Iran-Contra. Also, he was definitely hidden that.
Oh, 100%.
I shredded. I was never told not to shred. I shredded because I thought it was the right thing to do. When I didn't have a shredder, I put it in a burn bag and they were burned.
So the official...
Hey, he's not lying. He didn't pull Clinton. My boy is staying on that. He's standing on business.
The official story was that Oliver North went rogue and did all this stuff behind the president's back with some help from a few other people in the government. For this, he was convicted of...
I destroyed evidence. I was not told not to destroy evidence. I thought I was doing the right thing by destroying evidence. Well, depending on the room that he's talking about, he probably was doing the right thing. But then the public's, it's not, it's not the best thing to say.
Obstructing justice, destroying documents, and accepting bribes, for which he served a total of 0 days in prison.
How about that, baby? How about that?
He got off on a technicality. But again, he didn't do all this by himself, so what happened to the rest of the gang? Richard Secord and his business partner, Albert Hakim, each got 2 years. Probation.
General, what effect do you believe that these highly publicized proceedings will have on the willingness of foreign countries and individuals to cooperate with the United States on proper covert operations in the future?
In my opinion, the whole world is laughing at us.
Still laughing. It's a long laugh, bro. It's still going.
Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, National Security Advisor, and 2 CIA members were all pardoned by George Bush Sr. once he got into office.
So also, when you're thinking about like politics and how like draining it is, like this shit's all over your timeline right now. Obviously, it's election season, literally election day right now. Shout out to all the people watching this later on because shit, whatever happens, at least you know who's been elected, and hopefully there's not 2,000 fucking celebrities coming out on your fucking Twitter page endorsing somebody or talking about politics in a realm that hasn't been talked about since fucking 2020 when we had them telling us we're all in this together while they're chilling in their fucking mansions. But I digress. Yeah.
Pretty much everyone involved got off with a slap on the wrist at worst. Oh, actually that's not true. There was one person who got punished pretty badly. Mehdi Hashemi, the guy who leaked the Iran arms sale story to the Lebanese press, he was executed for treason. But
damn,
this was basically the biggest scandal in American history, and everyone got away with it.
Oh yeah, well, I was making a point earlier. But yeah, when you're depressed about the politics and shit like that, just remember, like, dude, these problems have been handed down from generation to generation. So yeah, there's a lot of fucked up shit in the world, but guess what? It's not because of our generation, right? It's not. We've created our own, issues, and there's been, issues stirred around, directed towards our generation, to influence us in a type of way, to divide us, actually, in a way. But just remember, these problems are being handed down, and that does not mean our generation has to create more problems. And hopefully, we'll have better leaders. But if history. If history tells us anything, it's that we're going to elect some dumb motherfuckers, or we're going to elect some good motherfuckers that make dumbass decisions. It depends on your perspective. But yeah, just hope for the best, and yeah, cross your fingers and dot your eyes.
And nobody gives a shit to this day. I don't hear anybody talking about this anymore.
No, I haven't heard this story at all. I've heard about this time period a bunch, but not this specific story at all, which is really interesting, man.
All these conspiracy theories coming out recently, but then you
is Mark Zuckerberg a lizard?
have real conspiracies that are now declassified, that are right in front of our eye.
It's the best kind of conspiracies because they're actually real, and it's really interesting because people knock conspiracies all the time because a lot of them are just tremendously outlandish, rightfully so. People believe the Earth's flat. There's a lot of crazy shit out there, but there's a lot of crazy shit out there that is also plausible. A lot of evidence, you know, points to the direction that it could be true. And on top of that, there's some stuff out there that we don't know is true yet, but we will one day. And we can think to ourselves and have conversations about it. And that's why I love conspiracies, because they're very, very interesting. And shout out to this guy. I'm going to butcher his name. Dantavius, I think. But shout out to this guy. His video is really good. I gave it a like. You should go check it out. Give it a like. Go sub to his channel if you haven't already. He's almost at 600,000 subs. Dude, that's awesome. This was posted a year ago. Video aged like fine wine. I love it. Let me know what y'all think down below. We're going to check out his comment section. See what they got to say. We'll check out a couple of them. Remember, guys, Dantavius is not depressed, nor does he have suicidal tendencies. Yeah, I've said that multiple times on mine. I feel the same way. Never have, never will. Yeah. Reagan wasn't gonna let a stupid thing like Congress. Wait, what? Reagan wasn't gonna let a stupid thing like Congress. It's so refreshing to hear other people talk about the man who he really was. Oh, okay. Dantavius is like the one guy you see once a week, but each time you see him, you just want more. Yep. That was an awesome video. I've never seen one of his videos before. Shout out to this guy, man. Shout out to Dante. That's the video, so let me know what you think down below. This isn't possible without you. And yeah, there should be some other videos that are popping up sometime soon. You can check those out or look at my channel. And there's other cool videos you can check out that, because I talk about a lot of topics, old, new, whatever it might be. Comment down below something you would want me to talk about. I'm game for whatever, dude. I really am. There's no topic that is out of the question, especially if it's already been talked about on YouTube. Because that means it's fair game, because of, you know, content policy and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, my name's Trey Swish. Thank you for watching the Ether, and I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.